Chosen one. There is something that has been on your mind all these times. You can feel it, cannot you? How people around you hold their guard whenever you are near. How they whisper to each other as soon as you turn your back. How they fake smile in front of you, but thinking of something entirely different. That was always the norm for you. But today, God said, no more. You were their easy win until you became the one mistake they cannot undo. That is the quote etched into their mind like a permanent scar. Burned so deep, it rewrites how they see themselves. Not because you yelled, begged, or fought, but because you went silent and elevated. You didn't just move on. You leveled up in a way they never saw coming. You became their unfinished business, the chapter that keeps bleeding into every page of their life, no matter how many new stories they try to write. Think about what that means. Every new person they meet gets compared to you. Every quiet moment brings your memory back. Every success they chase feels hollow because they know they lost something real. You are not in their life anymore, but you are everywhere in their mind. That is not coincidence, that is consequence. Imagine playing chess with someone who thinks you are predictable. They smile, thinking they have got you locked in. They have studied your patterns, memorized your moves, convinced themselves they know exactly how you will respond. But just when they lean back, confident in their victory, you pull a move that flips the entire board. That is what you did. You delivered a checkmate, not just on the board, but in their soul. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't loud, but it hit them where it hurt most. Their ego. And egos don't forget wounds like that. See, they built their whole identity around being smarter than you, stronger than you, more in control than you. Your silent victory shattered that illusion. Now, every time they try to feel superior to someone else, your face appears in their mind. A reminder that they got outplayed by the one person they underestimated the most. And here is the fact. Real psychological studies show that emotional shocks can stay in a person's memory for decades, especially when the shock isn't violence, but silence. When it is not rage, but reinvention. When it is not revenge, but elevation, the brain doesn't know how to process that. It loops, it replays, it glitches. You became that glitch in their system, that haunting echo of how did I lose them to themselves. The human mind is wired to prepare for obvious threats. Anger, confrontation, drama, those things make sense. But peaceful departure, silent transformation, evolution without explanation, that breaks the pattern, that creates a psychological splinter they cannot remove. Every time they think they have moved on, that splinter shifts and reminds them you are still there, living rent-free in the space where their confidence used to be. And thank you, chosen one. If you feel this message in your bones, if every word is hitting like a truth you have been carrying alone, don't forget to support this with a like. That simple click matters more than you know. That is how we spread this signal to other souls who need it. People still trapped in cycles you have already broken free from. People who need to hear that their silence was strength, not weakness. We are not here just to hear the truth. We are here to become the truth. We are here to embody it so fully that others can see it is possible. You are not just a viewer watching content. You are a force creating momentum. You are part of a movement that is rewriting what it means to walk away with dignity and power. Now, let's get back to why your impact was so brutal and so unforgettable. They thought they had you figured out. They thought you were soft, easy to manipulate, easy to leave, replaceable, predictable, just another background character in their life story. Someone who would cry, chase, beg for another chance. Someone who would make their exit feel important. But you were never just a page. You were the twist. You were the reversal they never rehearsed for. You were the plot development that changed the entire genre of their story. And now they cannot unsee it. They cannot unfeel it. They cannot unlive it because you are permanently woven into their sense of failure. Your glow up wasn't about clothes or money or followers. Those are surface level changes that fade. What you achieved was deeper. It was the kind of upgrade that rattles people on a soul level. Inner peace that doesn't need validation, unbothered energy that cannot be shaken by their games. A stillness so powerful, it screams louder than any argument ever could. That is what you gained, and that is what they lost access to. That is what makes them scroll your social media at 2 a.m. wondering how you did it, how you became this untouchable, while they are still stuck in the same patterns that pushed you away. Here is what most people don't understand. When someone watches you rise without them, when they see you thriving in a life they are not part of, it exposes their biggest fear, that they never had power over you in the first place, that they never broke you. You just stopped, letting them close enough to try again. You removed their access, and in doing so, you revealed the truth they never wanted to face. They were never the main character. They were just the obstacle you had to overcome to find yourself. Some people don't fear your success. They fear your silence. They fear that you are finally out of their orbit, and nothing they do can pull you back in. No breadcrumb text, no casual check-in, no late night "I miss you" that used to work like magic. Nothing. That is what makes your checkmate so haunting, because they didn't lose you in some dramatic scene with slammed doors and final words. They lost you quietly, gradually, completely. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped reacting to their provocations. You stopped making them the center of your emotional storm. And that was the moment you won, though they didn't realize it until much later. Think about the power in that. While they were performing, creating drama, fishing for reactions, you were already gone. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually gone. Your body might have been present for a few more conversations, but your energy had already moved to a completely different frequency. And when they finally noticed, when they finally looked up and saw that you weren't fighting anymore, weren't explaining anymore, weren't there anymore, that is when the real panic set in. Without shouting, without proving a single point, without begging them to see your worth, you just vanished into the version of yourself they swore you would never become. The confident one, the peaceful one, the one who doesn't need their validation to feel whole. And now they feel your absence like static in the air, like walking into a room and sensing something essential is missing, even if they cannot name exactly what it is. Your absence became your presence. Your silence became your statement, louder than any speech you could have given. They thought they erased you, but you turned into a ghost that follows them through every room they enter, every relationship they attempt, every quiet moment when they are forced to be alone with their thoughts. That is the thing about chosen ones. We don't just exit, we echo. Our departure creates ripples that never stop spreading. Even when they try to fake their indifference, post happy pictures, claim they have moved on, their energy betrays them every single time. Their body shifts when your name is mentioned. Their eyes change focus. Their voice stutters or gets defensive. Why? Because it is not about you anymore. It is about the version of themselves that couldn't keep someone like you. That failure haunts them more than you as a person ever could. The failure is about them, and that is the wound that never heals. You didn't play dirty. You didn't get revenge. You didn't lower yourself to their level, didn't expose their secrets, didn't turn mutual friends against them, didn't blast them on social media, and that is what breaks them most, because they were ready for war. They had defenses prepared for your attack. What they got instead was something they had no defense against: dignity, class, self-respect, that didn't need to tear them down to build you up. You kept it classy, you kept it powerful, and you moved in a way that told the whole world without saying a single word: I am not stuck in the past analyzing what went wrong. I am building something the past has no access to, no invitation to, no relevance in. That restraint, that maturity, that ability to walk away without burning bridges you might not even want to cross again. That is what haunts them, because it means you were never on their level. You were always above it. They just couldn't see it until you were gone. And now, every petty thing they do, every subtweet, every vague post, every attempt to get your attention just highlights the difference between where you are and where they are stuck. And now they scroll your profile like a guilty pleasure, like an addiction they cannot kick. They check if you still care, if you are watching their stories, if you are keeping tabs. They wonder if you have forgotten. They wonder if you think about them. But deep down, in that place they will not admit, even to themselves. They know the truth. You didn't forget them. You just outgrew them. And that stings more than anything they can post, say, or pretend, because you are not the person they left anymore. You are not the person they think they can come back to if things don't work out with whatever they chose instead of you. You are the person they cannot catch anymore, even if they tried. You are running in a different race now, one they don't even qualify for. What you did wasn't just a checkmate in a game. It was a spiritual declaration that changed the rules of engagement forever. I am no longer playing your game. I am not even playing against you. I have created an entirely new game. You don't have the skills, the growth, or the consciousness to participate in. And once a chosen one exits that old game and starts playing at a higher level, the whole board starts looking different. The pieces shift, the rules change, and the one who thought they had control is left staring at a life that suddenly feels empty. Shallow, missing something essential they took for granted. They didn't just lose a person, they lost a mirror. A mirror that showed them who they really are behind all the pretense and performance, and showed them who they will never become without doing the inner work you have done. That is what stings. That is what keeps them awake at 3 a.m. scrolling through old messages. Because your power didn't just evolve in isolation, it exposed them in the process. Your absence became the stage for their truth to show up. And when that curtain rose, even they couldn't pretend they were okay with what they saw reflected back. So don't doubt the move you made. Don't question the silence you kept. You didn't walk away. You delivered a message written not in words, but in transformation, and that kind of message never fades. It haunts. This is your moment. The one where you realize that being unforgettable isn't about forcing your presence. It is about owning your evolution so loudly that even your quiet screams in their soul, they will never forget you. Not because you tried to make them remember, but because you became the kind of person no one can forget. And that, chosen one, that is your checkmate. Let's go deeper. And if you are still here, that is no accident. That is your higher self telling you this message is yours. Drop a comment if this resonates. Let me know you are part of this journey, because what comes next hits the hardest, the part they pray you never figure out. Don't scroll. We are about to break down exactly how your silence became the loudest scream they will ever hear. Number 1. They built their whole strategy on who you used to be, and you burned the blueprint. The real pain isn't losing the person. It is realizing they became untouchable right after you bet against them. That is the thought screaming in their head now. Not because you came back swinging with receipts and revenge, not because you begged to be understood or validated, but because you didn't come back at all. You just disappeared into a version of yourself they claimed was impossible. While they were busy setting traps for the old you, the reactive you, the predictable you, you became someone their games cannot even reach. You evolved past the range of their manipulation. They underestimated you. They thought you would be reactive, emotional, easy to trigger. Thought they could bait you, pull you back into the same loops, make you prove yourself again and again. That was their whole playbook. Get you emotional, make you defensive, keep you beneath them through chaos and noise. But you didn't bite. You didn't engage. You didn't give them the reaction they were fishing for. You just stepped back, rebuilt your foundation, and became someone they never prepared for. Someone with boundaries they cannot cross. Someone with standards they cannot meet. Someone with peace they cannot disturb. You weren't playing their game anymore. You were creating a new one they weren't invited to, weren't qualified for, couldn't even understand if they tried. Their tactics became irrelevant. Their words lost all weight. Their manipulation hit nothing but empty air because the person they knew how to control, the person they had a manual for, that person no longer existed. This is what haunts them most. Not that you left. People leave all the time. What haunts them is that you evolved past the version of you they thought they owned. They were ready for tears, arguments, emotional breakdowns, late-night calls, asking what went wrong. What they got instead was silence, growth, elevation, and a level of peace they couldn't shake, couldn't disturb, couldn't penetrate no matter what they tried. That is the checkmate they never saw coming. That is the move that stays in their mind on repeat. Number 2, you didn't need closure because you became the closure. They are out here waiting for you to break down, ask questions, demand answers. Meanwhile, you are living proof that you don't need their explanation to move on. You gave yourself what they couldn't give you: peace, clarity, freedom. You closed the chapter yourself. That is what messes with them. They wanted to be the one to end it on their terms, control the narrative, leave you needing them for answers. But you walked away so complete, so whole, that their version of the story became irrelevant. You didn't need their apology. You didn't need their regret. You just needed your own respect. And the moment you gave that to yourself, they lost their last piece of leverage. Now they are stuck, holding a closure. They cannot deliver because you are not waiting for it anymore. You became the answer to every question they thought you would chase them for, and that is the ultimate power move. You didn't wait for them to set you free. You freed yourself. Number 3. Your silence became the most powerful response they will never recover from. They wanted a reaction so badly they could taste it. Anger, pain, confusion, jealousy, anything to confirm they still had an effect on you, still occupied space in your mind, still mattered in your world. But you gave them nothing, and that nothing became everything they couldn't handle. Silence isn't weakness. It is strategy. It is chess, not checkers. It is the loudest statement you can make without saying a word. It tells them you are unbothered, unmoved, completely beyond their reach. Every day you don't respond is another day they realize they lost control over your emotions, your attention, your energy. And for someone who thrived on reactions, who built their identity on being able to push your buttons, your silence is psychological torture. They replay every moment in their head, trying to figure out what went wrong. They wonder if you ever cared at all. They question if they mattered. They check your social media, obsessively looking for any sign that you are thinking about them, that you are hurting, that you miss what you had. But all they find is evidence of you thriving, growing, moving forward without them, like they were never even a chapter in your story. And the longer your silence stretches, the louder it screams in their mind. You are not ignoring them out of spite or revenge. You are ignoring them because they are no longer relevant to your growth, your peace, your journey. Number 4, you turned their rejection into your redirection. What they meant to break you actually built you. Every time they pushed you away, they pushed you toward your purpose. They thought they were closing doors. They were actually clearing the path. You didn't just survive their rejection, you used it as fuel. This is what eats at them. They expected you to crumble. Instead, you created. They thought you would shrink. Instead, you expanded. Their rejection didn't define you. It refined you. And now you are out here thriving in spaces they cannot access, building a life they have no part in. They see you winning and realize they weren't the obstacle. They were the catalyst. And that realization destroys them because it means they were never as powerful as they thought. You didn't need them to succeed. You needed them to leave so you could become who you were always meant to be. If this truth is hitting home, take a second and like this message. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today, because we are just getting started. Number 5, your growth exposed their stagnation in the most brutal way possible. While you were evolving, transforming, becoming the best version of yourself, they stayed exactly where you left them. Same patterns, same problems, same excuses, same energy. And every time they see how far you have come, it highlights how far they haven't moved. You became a living before and after comparison they cannot escape from. You became a living comparison they cannot avoid, cannot deny, cannot rationalize away. Your progress isn't just personal achievement. It is proof that the problem was never you. It was them, their toxicity, their resistance to growth, their refusal to do the inner work. And that realization is eating them alive because they cannot blame you anymore for why things fell apart. They can only face themselves, and what they see isn't pretty. What they see is someone who stayed stuck while you flew. You didn't grow to spite them. You didn't transform to prove a point. You grew because you finally chose yourself over the drama, yourself over the dysfunction, yourself over the version of love that required you to shrink. But your growth became the mirror they cannot look away from, cannot break, cannot hide from. It shows them what is possible when someone decides to stop accepting less than they deserve, and they hate that you are the one showing them what they could have had if they had been willing to meet you at your level. Number 6. You stopped being the fixer, and they fell apart like a house of cards. They relied on you for everything, to carry the emotional weight, to smooth things over when they messed up, to clean up their messes, to be their therapist, their mother, their safety net, all at once. You were their emotional crutch, their constant, the one thing they could count on to always be there, no matter how badly they treated you. And when you removed yourself, when you finally said enough, they realized something terrifying. They never learned how to function without you. You weren't abandoning them out of cruelty. You were refusing to enable dysfunction, refusing to be an accomplice in your own diminishment. You stopped healing people who were addicted to hurting you. You stopped watering ground that refused to grow anything good. You stopped being the solution to problems they refused to stop creating. And that one move, That single act of self-preservation destroyed everything they were banking on, because their whole control system relied on one foundational assumption: that you would never leave the cycle, that you loved them too much, that you were too invested, that you needed them as much as they needed you. But you proved them wrong. Now they are left with themselves, and without you to blame when things go wrong, without you to distract them from their own issues, without you to lean on when life gets hard. They are face to face with their own mess, and it is overwhelming. You ended the loop they thought would protect them forever, the cycle that kept them from having to face their own reflection. That is not just closure, that is liberation. Yours, and eventually, maybe, theirs too, if they ever do the work. Number 7, you mastered the art of moving in silence. You didn't announce your growth. You didn't post about your progress. You just quietly became better. And that is what terrifies them. They couldn't track you. They couldn't monitor your moves. By the time they noticed, you were already 10 steps ahead. You understood something powerful. Real growth doesn't need an audience. Real power doesn't need validation. You moved like a ghost, silent and unstoppable. And when they finally looked up, you were already untouchable. They were waiting for the big reveal, the dramatic comeback. What they got was steady, quiet transformation they couldn't interrupt. And now they are stuck trying to catch up to someone who is no longer in their league. Number 8, you became the standard they cannot meet. Every person they try to connect with after you gets measured against who you were. And everyone falls short. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real. You brought something they took for granted. Now they are realizing what they lost. They thought they could find better. What they found was different. And different isn't better when you had the real thing. You set a standard they didn't appreciate until it was gone. And now that standard haunts every interaction they have. They are not comparing others to you out of love. They are comparing because they are realizing what they gave up. And that is the regret that never stops burning. Number 9, your energy shifted, and they felt it even from a distance. You didn't need to say a word. Your whole frequency changed. You carry yourself different. You speak different. You move different. And they can feel it. That shift in your energy is louder than anything you could have said. Energy doesn't lie, and yours is screaming that you are on a different level now. They cannot fake their way back into that space. They cannot manipulate their way into your peace. Your energy became a force field. They cannot penetrate. They feel the distance not as miles but as evolution. You are not just physically gone. You are energetically unreachable, and that is what makes your absence permanent. Number 10. You stopped playing their game and started writing your own rules. They expected you to follow the script, fight when they provoked, chase when they pulled away, react when they triggered. But you did something they never anticipated. You stopped playing altogether. You weren't even on the same board. They were playing checkers, moving loud and sloppy. You were playing chess in silence, 10 steps ahead. You let them think they had control because you knew their ego would reveal every card. And when the time was right, you didn't retaliate. You just ended the game with a move so clean they are still stuck, trying to figure out where they lost. Smart ones don't fight loud. They let the enemy walk straight into their own trap. You weren't reacting emotionally. You were operating strategically. They played for attention. You played for legacy. Number 11, you stopped feeding the loop, and their control fell apart. They didn't fear your absence. They feared your evolution. They weren't scared of losing you. They were scared of losing access to the version of you that kept showing up, fixing, forgiving, explaining. You were their reset button. And for a while, you played the role, until one day you realized this isn't love. This is a loop, and you broke it quietly, decisively. You stopped healing people who were addicted to hurting you, and that one move destroyed everything they were banking on. You didn't stop loving, you just stopped betraying yourself. You didn't leave out of hate, you left out of growth. And nothing threatens a broken person more than someone who is no longer willing to break with them. Number 12. You weren't a character in their script. You were the glitch that deleted it. They thought they had you pegged, predictable, moldable. Another piece on their chessboard, but every move you made broke their code. You didn't just step out of line, you erased the line altogether. You were the one thing they didn't account for, the anomaly that crashed the system. They kept trying to solve you like a riddle, but every time they thought they had the answer, you changed the question. You weren't hard to understand. You were just never meant to be understood by small minds. You shattered the assumptions they built about you and themselves. They didn't lose track of you. They lost track of the story the moment you stopped fitting their fantasy. You live in their head, not as a regret, but as a mystery they will never solve. You didn't just leave, you transformed completely. You became the glitch that crashed their whole system, the ghost that haunts their quiet moments, the greatness they never saw coming because they were too busy underestimating you. So if this message hit deep and you are feeling this energy in every cell of your body, leave a comment below. Let me know this resonates. Tell me your story. Join the tribe of chosen ones who are rewriting the narrative one silent victory at a time. Your evolution isn't just personal, it is powerful. It is a testimony. It is proof that you don't need someone's permission to become who you were always meant to be. And this is only the beginning of what is possible when you choose yourself. You are not just walking away from what broke you. You are walking into what builds you, strengthens you, completes you. Stay sharp. Stay rising. Stay committed to your own peace, even when they try to pull you back into chaos. Remember that every time they reach out, every time they test your boundaries, they are not doing it because they have changed. They are doing it because they finally realized what they lost. And that recognition is your validation, though you don't need it anymore because you have already validated yourself. You are not alone in this journey. There are thousands of chosen ones, just like you, who went silent, did the work, and emerged as the checkmate nobody saw coming. We are all part of the same frequency, the same energy, the same movement towards self-respect and unshakable peace. This isn't just about one person getting revenge through growth. This is about a whole generation of people learning that the best response is sometimes no response, that the best revenge is none at all, that the best victory is the one where you don't have to say a single word because your life speaks louder than your lips ever could. Keep rising, keep evolving, and most importantly, keep being the person they wish they hadn't lost. Because you are not the same person who walked away. You are the upgraded, unbothered, unstoppable version they will spend years trying to replace and never will. That is your power. That is your legacy. That is your permanent checkmate. Together, we rise toward the light.